The Iranian regime is facing a total collapse, and they are now resorting to the unthinkable just to survive. We are watching a government that spent decades terrorizing the Middle East suddenly find itself headless, crippled, and so desperate that they are rewriting their own laws to draft literal children into the military. Not teenagers. Children. As young as 12 years old. This isn't just a news update. This is what the final stages of a regime in freefall look like. If you want to understand who is winning this war, don't look at the map. Look at what Iran is being forced to do. Just to stay alive. Let's get into it. It started with a strike. That changed the entire trajectory of this conflict. In a precision operation that U.S. officials are calling a masterclass in intelligence, the IRGC Navy commander Ali Reza Tangseri was vaporized, along with his entire inner circle. Tangseri wasn't just any commander, he was the man responsible for closing the Strait of Hormuz, the choke point through which 20% of the world's oil flows. He spent the last 8 years harassing merchant marines and attacking over 20 ships. He was the face of Iran's naval aggression. But here's the detail. That should send chills down the spine. Of the Iranian leadership, the strike didn't just get him. According to Israeli officials, Tangseri and his top 8 commanders were meeting in a hidden underground bunker. A bunker designed to keep them safe. It wasn't safe. They were all taken out in a single moment. Now, sometimes in war, you hear hyperbolic claims about enemy losses. This is not that. U.S. Central Command came out with a number that is almost hard to process. Admiral Brad Cooper confirmed that 92% of the Iranian Navy's largest vessels have been wiped out. 92%? Think about that. For a second, the fleet that was supposed to close the Strait of Hormuz doesn't exist anymore. It's at the bottom of the Gulf. Cooper's assessment was blunt. Iran has lost the ability to meaningfully project naval power. They are not sailing. They are not threatening. And here's the part. That should terrify Tehran. The U.S. isn't just targeting ships, they are targeting the command structure so relentlessly that there is no one left to lead. When you combine the loss of their top admiral with the destruction of their fleet, what you're left with isn't a navy. It's a bunch of guys in small boats, with no one telling them what to do. Admiral Cooper even issued a direct warning to every Iranian sailor. Abandon your post, go home, because if you stay, you are next. But here is where the story goes. From military defeat to moral catastrophe. Last night, the IRGC announced they are lowering the minimum age for military service to 12 years old. You heard that right? 12. Now, the IRGC is trying to spin this. They are saying, oh, we just have so many young volunteers. We had to accept them. I want you to think about the logic there. They want you to believe that in the middle of a war, where their leadership is being vaporized, thousands of 6th graders are lining up to join the fight. Does that sound believable to you? Of course not. What is actually happening is that the Islamic Republic is running out of bodies. They have lost so many experienced commanders and so many soldiers that they are now reaching into middle schools to fill checkpoints and logistics roles. These are kids who probably haven't even hit puberty yet. And here's the chilling part. This is exactly what they did in the 1980s. During the Iran-Iraq War, Ayatollah Khomeini sent waves of child soldiers, some as young as 9, to clear minefields with their bare chests. They called them Basij. They called it a human wave. Now, 40 years later, the Islamic Republic is so desperate to hold on to power that they are going back to the same playbook. They are willing to sacrifice the future of Iran, the literal children of Iran, just to keep their grip on Tehran for a few more months. And international law, the Convention on the Rights of the Child, Iran doesn't care. They only care about international law when their own leaders start dying. If this doesn't tell you that Iran is losing, I don't know what will. So, what do you do when your navy is destroyed and you are running out of soldiers? You call your only ally. According to the Financial Times, Iran is now begging Russia for help, and not just for weapons, for food and medicine. That is how bad it has gotten inside the country. The regime is struggling to feed its own people while simultaneously trying to arm itself. Now, this is where the story gets even more complicated. You might remember that at the start of the Ukraine war, Iran sent Russia thousands of Shahed drones. Iran helped Russia build factories to mass produce those drones. Russia renamed them Jaran. Now, those same drones are coming back to the Gulf. Just last month, UAE air defenses shot one down over Dubai. The debris confirms it. Russia is now sending upgraded versions, complete with better engines and AI guidance systems that can find targets, even if they are jammed. This is the same Russia that some people in the United States want us to partner with. That same Russia is now supplying weapons that are being used against U.S. interests in the Middle East. But here's the twist. Israel isn't letting it happen. Just 2 days ago, in a strike that very few people saw coming, Israel hit Iranian naval posts along the Caspian Sea. This was a first, the first ever Israeli strike on the Caspian Sea. They destroyed ports, command centers, and the ships being used to transport Russian supplies. The Caspian Sea is the direct shipping lane from Russia to Iran. No borders, no customs, no countries to cross. It was the perfect supply line, and Israel just blew it up. Even Russia admitted it. The Russian foreign minister said the strike hit a Russian economic interest. But here's what's interesting. Putin isn't doing anything about it. Why? Putin himself gave the answer. He recently said that Israel is basically a Russian-speaking country with 2 million citizens from the former Soviet Union. His point was clear. He is too bogged down in Ukraine, and he doesn't want to pick a fight with a country that has deep ties to his own population. But make no mistake, Russia is actively funding and supplying the side that wants to kill American soldiers. That is a fact. We should never forget. Now, despite all this chaos, despite the strikes, the desperation, the child soldiers, there is another story happening behind the scenes. President Trump revealed something fascinating. A couple of days ago, he said Iran gave the United States a gift, a big gift. He wouldn't say what it was at first, but we now know. According to Arab diplomats and U.S. officials, the gift was not money or oil. It was action. Iran let tankers pass through the Strait of Hormuz. That might not sound like a big deal, but in the world of Middle Eastern geopolitics, it was a signal. It was Iran saying, we can open this waterway whenever we want, and we just opened it for you. Why does that matter? Because over the last few weeks, most of Iran's visible leadership has been killed or gone into hiding. The U.S. needed to know who actually holds the real power in Tehran. Because if you negotiate with the wrong person, the deal falls apart. By opening the strait, Iran showed the U.S. exactly who has the authority to make decisions. According to the Wall Street Journal, private negotiations have now begun. Publicly, Iranian officials are still denying it. But privately, sources say they are less strident and more willing to listen. Arab mediators are hopeful. Now, does that mean peace is coming soon? Probably not. Both sides are still making maximum demands. In fact, Iran is now asking for legal control over the Strait of Hormuz, something they never demanded before the war. So the gap is still wide. But the fact that they are talking while their navy sits at the bottom of the sea and their leadership is being picked off, one by one, that tells you everything you need to know about who is in the stronger position right now. So, where does this leave us? We have a regime that has lost 92% of its navy. A regime that is so desperate for manpower that they are pulling 12-year-olds out of classrooms and putting them on military checkpoints. A regime that is begging Russia for food and medicine, while Russia itself is getting its supply lines blown up in the Caspian Sea. And yet, for the first time in months, they are sitting at the negotiating table. The next few days are going to be critical. Will the strikes continue until the regime is completely hollowed out? Or will the talks lead to a ceasefire that saves what is left of the Iranian military? One thing is certain. The Islamic Republic Daima is not winning. They are surviving, and the lengths they are willing to go to, including sacrificing their own children, show just how close to the edge they really are. What do you think? Is Iran's desperation a sign that peace is coming? Or is this just the calm before an even bigger storm? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to stay ahead of what is really happening in the Middle East, hit that like button and subscribe. We will keep watching the Strait, the Caspian, and the negotiating table. So you do not have to. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.